record label could get you on the radio. And, that's a lot of work to get to that point. And, so I forgot the point I was trying to make here.
Well, the key point is that this area is blessed to have a venue like this where it's so many awesome.
She just brought me back.
Yeah,
that was the whole point. But when you are lucky enough to go through all that effort, and then you get signed, and then you get put on the radio, and then you go to these towns, and they're real small venues, and they're mostly painted walls black, and there's holes kicked in everywhere, and
they kind of suck.
And the staff is not very helpful or educated, and it's just ironic. That's where the radio station will put you. You're chasing the radio, so you do what they tell you to do. And so we played a lot of bad clubs, and it wasn't just us. It was a lot of people that had that experience. So making Scout, I tried to address in my head all of those things that I did not like. And that's why bands like to play here, because somebody put consideration into all those things that they have to go through. Even though the room has a lot of limitations, I feel like we addressed everything that we could do, and the rest is just up to the audience that comes in, and that's the other thing that makes it work. When they have a great time and the audience is full of energy, that's what makes Scout work. If you ever wondered how the hell do they get those bands there, that's what it is. It's a combination of history, of approach, of production values, of being courteous and educated on what they need, all those things. Put it all together, and the audience comes in and kicks their ass. That's what makes them come back. That's what makes it work.
Excellent. So let's talk about the new album. You guys, very fresh. You guys were actually, rehearsing tonight, right? Right before you sat down.
Yeah, I can start this off, and then I'm going to hand it to Jeff. But, Scout closed March 14th or 17th or something like that. And for about, a month, 4 to 5 weeks, I did basically what everyone else did. I stayed home and watched a lot of Netflix and grew a beard and all that stuff. And somewhere around week 4 or 5, it started to dawn on me, this isn't funny anymore.
Right.
We could go out of business. And I started physically getting depressed. I told you that on the phone. And, I talked to Jeff, and I'm like, look, let's do something productive. Let's sit down. And Scout is sitting there idle, so we set all the equipment up on stage, and we left it there. We set up a mobile writing rig where we're sitting now with some good quality microphones, and then we, went from there. A lot of it has to do with the songwriting stems from Jeff and his inspiration, and it probably comes, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, from the frustration of what everyone's having to deal with now, and that's why the record, in my opinion, is a little darker and a little
deep.
Yeah. And it addresses a lot of feelings and hopes and, and the exact opposite, the depression and things like that people are dealing with. So, Jeff, you enlighten everybody.
Yeah. Well, I was much like him. Unfortunately, I was considered essential worker or whatever. So, but I was also the guy that spent, all my time working. I would spend whatever they would give me, I would take, and I would make, and keep taking. So I wasn't used to having idle time. So when I got that idle time, just like he did and everyone else did, I just stepped for a while, and I coined the phrase for myself anyway, that desperation will breed greatness. And I literally sat down with the most basic of programs to write music on GarageBand, just put away my guitars and changed my whole method. I'm just going to use a keyboard like the old days, and I'm just going to use what I always did, which is I develop a melody in my head. And, work on music that way. And the desperation was just you can't help it. It's all around you everywhere. And in this day and age, you can so much use tools from, whether it be the internet or whatever to, process your ideas, et cetera. It wasn't hard to move it for me. Plus the years and years of experience of writing music made it even easier for me now. And I'm not saying writing music is ever easy, because you can write crap all day long. And that's why I have Yoda here, because Yoda dials me back in. Whatever he listens to what I'm doing, he'll go, no, we need to do this. Because I can go all over the place. I'll stop, as I was telling a bass player, I have one day a week where it's R&B day, just to make sure that I have, my songwriting doesn't just do one thing and one thing only. But, writing this record was definitely good for me. And it was good to have people in your entire band go, all right, this stuff is good. Because for years and years, there's been a debate on every song.
I'm sure it was therapeutic as well. I was surprised. I mean, when we sit down, we can usually crank out a song or something, but they just kept coming. And like I told you before, there's enough material for another album and possibly another one after that. So we're well on our way to doing another release sometime in the spring or early summer, shooting for to be done and have it loaded up in the system maybe by April and released in May, something like that. So for us, that's as productive as it possibly gets.
Right.
To release 2 records in 1 year, and we'll just keep moving forward as long as it keeps coming out and the quality doesn't go down, then we'll keep doing it, So that's the plan. Hopefully we can stick to it.
So how's releasing a record? Not to age any of us here, but the hunger's been around for a little while. Obviously, so you've been releasing records, taking a little break. How's it 15 years later? Different releasing a record today than it was 15, 20, 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's completely different. I mean, you don't really need a record label. Obviously, record labels are desirable to have one. That way, you're not doing everything yourself, but yeah, releasing a record in the digital era is completely different. You got to remember the last 2 records we did on our own, and people were still buying CDs then. And the 2 records before that were on Universal, and they did everything. We had a business manager and a personal managers and an attorney, and so you can lose yourself real quickly like that. You lose your work ethic when I really believe DIY is the way to stay until you just can't do it anymore. You're so busy that you have to hand the reins to someone else. So you lose yourself at some point when you do that. But, I had to familiarize myself with streaming and all of the relevant social media sites and turn all those around. And that's what we're working on right now. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we're well on our way. I think I shared a post with you we did 2 days ago where we reached 10,000 streams in 10 days.
Yeah.
So that's great for a band that has not had any material in 15 years, to come out of the gate like that's pretty good. So, hopefully it's just, more of that going forward.
Do you ever check out some of the feedback online? I mean, do you realize that there was a point where maybe in a lot of cases probably it was Vanishing Cream was like people's favorite song that they I've been doing a lot of I did a little deep dive this before coming over here on YouTube, and just where people that they that was maybe their favorite song back when it hit, back when I was on the radio in Chicago or Denver, and people are dropping the station they first heard it, and they'll even admit they didn't even realize it took them a while to find the hunger. They heard it back in the day, and then they realized it was the hunger.
Yeah, it's the interesting thing about Vanishing Cream is even in the 15 years that, like I said, we haven't released a record. Vanishing Cream and the Devil Thumbs a Ride record has managed to keep us at we hover around 10,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. For a band that hasn't released anything in 15 years, that's absolutely incredible. But I looked it up, and we're on over 2,000 playlists. Remember the 90s, remember this kind of stuff. And that just keeps the plays coming in and coming in. So that is probably part of the catalyst for why we're doing well now, is that we had a foundation to launch on that we shouldn't have even had. So Vanishing Cream has kind of never gone away. It just, we joke about it all the time when at the end of year when they total all the radio plays, we were number 4 in a top 100 list. The top one was, I don't know, Metallica. Number 2 was Stone Temple Pilots. Number 3 was Smashing Pumpkins or something, and we were number 4,
right.
And right behind us was Alice in Chains or something. So we got a ton of airplay with that record. That's why, I believe the song still resonates and still hangs around. Even, it just has legs.
And for the record, I'm not even sure that's my favorite song on that album. That entire album's strong from top to finish.
That's great.
Yeah,
I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of the song and the band. They made believers out of me.
No, I do love the song, but I feel like the other songs in that album are kind of overlooked sometimes. Or of course, a lot of people just heard the one on the radio. I mean, if you're in Chicago, that's the only song from The Hunger you ever heard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, yeah. So you had to do your due diligence to find that album and to buy it, I guess.
The problem with having a song that is that big, when you follow it up, it doesn't get the attention or the respect that it should, so you run into issues like that. But I agree with you. I like songs like Further and other songs on the record I think are strong. They're just never got a chance because they couldn't survive the thrashing that Vanishing Cream gave them.
So, Jeff, Thomas kind of gave you credit for writing, I guess, probably the lyrics in the most recent album, but were you the one responsible for "I Want Your Sex on Me"? I mean, I've looked my wife straight in the eye and said that, and it worked out well for me. I mean, I love that.
Yeah. Well, there's songs that on this new record that literally, I spent a lot of the last 6 months, maybe a year, I don't know, ignoring my family and my wife for the large part, because it takes a lot of time. I can't sit at home and scream all night long. I mean, nobody will sleep, so it's a lot of time away from home. So, I got The Evil Eye for a while. And she finally listened to it, maybe a week ago. And amazingly, all that Evil Eye stuff kind of just stopped. And she understood what we were doing. I'm like, I'm not just some guy who's trying to do, a fluke or whatever. But, I've always had that song in particular it was mine. It was a hidden track for a reason because I love that. I was pretty angry at the time. I'm not going to lie. And, I won't get into what it related to. But, yeah, we'll just leave that at that. I was pretty darn angry.
No, I thought that was genius, and that caught me off guard. I was like, hold on, when's the next song going to play? What's going on? And then, boom.
The statement of, at least for us, for him, the more unhappy he is, the better the songs are. It's just a fact. When he's super happy, and it's harder to create real good, credible work. And that's just my observation of being in the band, working in the band, and seeing the quality of the material almost always stems from personal tragedy or just frustrating times or the combination of all of that. It produces better music for this band. I can't speak for other bands, but that's what I see.
No, I've heard that about Art, and the good news is you all have been pretty happy for the last 15 years, apparently.
Yeah, that probably has a lot to do with, why we weren't active then. Everyone, at some point, you got to address your own personal life. You don't have to, but we chose to address our personal life, have children, build homes, try to build careers or things like that. And the band got put on the back burner. And now, because of COVID, we got the opportunity to have the time to do it and realize there's still some gas in the tank. And that's why we're moving forward. And now, with a little recognition and, a couple of attaboys, now we're still trending forward. We're researching locations in West Texas and New Mexico to go out and shoot videos, like real videos, not the stuff we've been releasing now. That was just to get some content out there, but there will be real videos coming with guns and crazy cars and all kinds of stuff like that. So they were in the process of doing that. And so it's real, it's just we're doing it ourselves and financing it ourselves, and hopefully at some point we'll either make some money with it, or we won't. And if we don't, we're okay with that. We're come full circle, and we do it because of the joy, and that's it. I can't put it any plainer.
So I guess this is a good point to mention that there's a special show here at Scout Bar on Saturday, December 5th, right?
Yeah, I totally forgot that. The CD release party at Scout is Saturday, December 5th, and we are going to do a video shoot there, too.
Okay.
We have a lot of surprises in mind. We rented a huge video wall. Like the biggest one I've ever seen put in this building ever. And it's all synced to the music. And so we intend on capturing all that and using it for flashes and videos or whatever. But, we won't make a straight-up performance video. To me, it's too typical. I want videos with themes and like what just happened, or that was freaking awesome what you guys did. That's what we're striving for. We always have done that. We want to try to push the boundaries and don't think of ourselves, even when we were a local band, as a local band. So we always tried to find the producer that Alice in Chains work with and people will tell me, how'd you work with that guy? I'm like, I called him. I'm like,
Very simple.
that was it. Or how'd you get that guy to mix your record? I called him. That's it. Sometimes they hang up on you. Sometimes they're like, this is awesome. I want to work with you. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Nice.